to the Sphere. Riveting content, empowering your life. This episode is sponsored by
Dr. Taraya M. Richmond, PLLC. When it comes to your family's health and women's services, and you're looking for excellence in healthcare, look no further than your family medicine physician, Dr. Taraya M. Richmond, PLLC. Call Dr. Richmond today at 713-453-6962 to schedule your next appointment.
Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789. KOG and Company. Are your unique gifts and talents changing the world? Do you desire to belong to a community of unity? Visit KOGpassion.com to learn more about the Unleash Your Dopeness movement.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Docs. I'm Dr. Simone Ellis, and I'm super excited to be here today. Of course, Docs is our show where we educate and empower and inspire everything with health and wellness. And I am so sad because my co-host, Ashandra, could not be here today, but of course, send her some love. If you guys are looking for a dentist, of course, you can find me at Smile Design Studios, located at 6130 Highway 6 in Missouri City, Texas, or catch me on Facebook, Simone Ellis, or on Instagram, Dr. Simone Ellis. And I have the pleasure of introducing today Dr. Keisha Davis, who's a pathologist here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm excited because I just found out that homegirl is from Kansas, and so we got the Midwest, and we're over here in Texas. What got you over here to Texas?
Accident, actually. So basically, I was born in St. Louis, but I lived most of my life in Kansas City.
What? That 913, y'all?
I know. I say Kansas City, but Stillwell, Kansas is my hometown. I have to represent.
I didn't even know where that was, and I was like, when she texted me earlier, I'm like, we have the exact same area code. Where are you from?
I will never get rid of 913.
Love it.
So I spent most of my life in Kansas.
Okay.
I did my training there, medical training. Yeah. Okay. I went to college in St. Louis at Washington University.
Wow, that's a really good university.
It was. Yeah. I spent 3 years there, finished in 3 years, went back, started medical school at KU.
Oh, wow.
And did my training in pathology.
Well, wait a minute. Hold up. Let's go back because that's a lot of information. We got to pack that. You went to college and did it in 3 years?
I know.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking, okay, I knew I wanted to go into medicine, and my father was complaining about the cost. So I was like, you know what? Let me just hurry up and get out of here. Okay. And maybe that'll make him proud.
Wow. So, that's an ambitious goal. I love it.
It was intense, but
look, we have a couple viewers here. Hey, Kwanzaa. That's Dr. Pickney over there. She was on the show last night with Boom Bap. So
awesome.
DJ, and she's super dope. So, hey, love. Thanks for checking in. So, before we get into your life, because I'm excited, and like, anytime I'm around somebody who's a brain like that, it makes me super energetic, and I'm like, wow, you can finish school in like 3 years. But let's talk a little bit about a hot topic that's happening today, which is you brought to my attention some issues going on in Galveston. What are they doing down there?
I know. What is that article?
So on the article today, it talks about, I guess, in a clinic, they are spreading HIV, and other gross items.
Right. The potential spread.
Due to not being sterile. Could you imagine going someplace to get healthy and then deciding that, hey, I leave here, this place is supposed to be clean.
Exactly.
And I leave with something. And something that is as serious as HEP or HIV. So could you tell us a little bit about, like, what is HEP for people that don't really know?
So they're all viruses. You know, when we use the word bugs, we're talking about viruses, we're talking about bacteria, But hepatitis is a type of virus that can be spread through the same thing as HIV, which you hear is blood, serum, anything that is liquid fluids, secretions and things like that. The thing about hepatitis actually is that it is more commonly, you can get it contracted more often than HIV.
Wow.
As far as medical related.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if I'm doing a procedure or I am doing an autopsy and I get cut, I have a higher risk of getting hepatitis from that patient than HIV.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so now we have this situation going down in this county, in this clinic, where people are coming in to get healthy and they're leaving with something that when you get hep, it doesn't go away, right? HIV is not about to be like, hey girl, I'll see you later. Like, that's a serious thing.
Very serious.
That's, I feel like, really unacceptable. They're going to have a lot of lawsuits coming down the pipeline real quick. So, well, that's our hot topic for today. And so we did start a little bit of diving into, you're from Kansas, did your undergrad in St. Louis, and then came on over to KU Med.
Yes.
Which I know very well. It's like down the street from my house. So
growing.
I feel like I love you already. What's your barbecue choice?
Well, we might be different on that.
Let's hear the debate.
I do not eat meat.
Wow. Yeah, we're definitely different. Yeah. I loved you, and then I just decided.
My whole family is into barbecue. They're from Tennessee. So what I do is I'll have to have like the barbecue vegetable or barbecue tofu.
Wow. The sauce. So you're putting the sauce on it.
Hey, our family has our own sauce
recipe.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah,
so when you were living there, though, did you have a preference of which sauce that you like from the store?
So what people were Gates. Hayward's not as much. To be honest, Gates was pretty good, but Gates I would always use our family sauce.
Wow.
Put on there.
Your family sauce is better than the Gates sauce?
Yeah.
I'm liking this girl already. So you go to KU Med, and let's go back to why you even wanted to go to medical school. Yeah. What was that journey like?
So my father is a physician. He's a radiologist.
Oh, wow.
And I really think that was part of it, dealing with it. Watching him kind of work hard and seeing, what he was doing, helping people, diagnosing cancer.
Wow.
I was kind of like, wow, this is what I want to do. But when I started, my head was on pediatrics. Okay, so I got my first 2 years. I'm ready. I get into my third year, and I start seeing some very sick kids. I start seeing parents that are harder to deal with than the kids, and I was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah, when people get dealing with their kids, they're like, that's not going to be easy at
I know.
all.
I was like, I think I'm going to change my choice. So literally, it was up until the fourth year of medical school, I'm sitting there wondering, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But this one doctor, her name is Dr. Thomas, and she was like, you know what, you really were good in pathology. You know how like you think you want to go one way, but you don't really realize what you were gifted to do? Because pathology in the past is not really something that a lot of the doctors are exposed to. When we go to medical school, it's like the basic training. We may do autopsy, we take pathology. But once you get to the clinics, it's like the basic stuff, the bread and butter. They don't really get to be exposed to pathology unless they already know they want to do it.
Got you.
Right. So by the time third or fourth year, she suggested I take a couple, of rotations. And then I got into it, started my first year on residency, and I was hooked. That was
awesome. So what type of pathologist are you?
Okay, so pathology kind of has a realm. What it means is the study of disease. I'm just basically studying how disease forms, how people get sick, and things like that. But there's so many different facets. When you go to residency, it used to be 5 years. I'm not going to say how old I am, but it used to be 5 years. So I spent 5 years in residency. And if you do 5 years, you're able to be an anatomical and clinical.
Oh,
so
wow.
basically, every pathologist is double boarded, most of us.
Wow.
Yeah, so we took 2 8-hour exams, and we're double boarded in anatomical, which is like diagnosing cancer or looking at a biopsy. And then the clinical part, which is laboratory medicine, dealing with hepatitis, dealing with microbiology and stuff like that.
So you were going to be the people that actually figured out that this was going on down in Galveston.
Right.
They needed you to be there.
Right.
You might need to have a pathologist in every clinic if that's what's going on.
Well, the thing is, a lot of pathologists are in the laboratory. We're like the director of the laboratory. But we've got the manager and we got the techs that are in there, and we're kind of overseeing what's going on in the lab.
Okay. And so that is, I'm so impressed that you were able to go to school that long, and 5 years after
6.
6 years after medical school is crazy. And that board process.
Long.
long and tedious. So shout out to that. And we're going to talk a little bit about, some of the challenges that you face as an African-American woman in pathology. So, but here's a shout out to another African-American doc. This is Dr. Taraya Richmond. This portion of the show is sponsored by her. So finding excellence in healthcare is no easy task. When you begin that journey, look no further than your local family medicine physician, Dr. Taraya Richmond. Dr. Richmond offers an array of services, including pap smears, breast exams, STI screenings, contraceptive management, prenatal care, and so much more. So guys, please check her out at 713-453-6962. I just saw Dr. Richmond actually won a fitness competition the other day. Yeah, so shout out to the girl. She's killing it.
Hi, Taraya.
And, you know Dr. Richmond.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, she's a sweetheart, isn't she?
She
so,
is.
guys, check her out of 713-453-6962. You will not be disappointed. If she can take her own health that seriously, she'll take care of you, right? So... Well, okay, so then talk to us about what is pathology. You mentioned a little bit about it, but for someone who is a layperson out here that's watching the show, what is the study of pathology?
Right.
What does that even mean?
So there's different parts. So I'll just start with anatomic.
Okay.
So anatomic pathologists, what we do is we deal with the surgeons. Kind of. So if a surgeon does, say your loved one or someone you know is getting a tumor taken out or getting something off their skin taken out, they send it to us. We have it processed, and we look at it under the microscope. Okay. We diagnose the cancer. We grade the cancer. We give it the stage so that they're able to treat it and figure out what is best for the patient.
So you guys are the ones that really make the call as far as if it's a good situation or a bad situation. Yeah. So you guys are behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, and so we're kind of like the silent doctor. People don't see our face, but do know that we're back there taking care of the patient, which our slide or whatever is, my patient to me.
Right. And so how do you go about that relationship with the doctor or the surgeon versus yourself? How is that relationship forged? How does that even continue to grow? And how do even as a community, I think that you guys aren't well known. I mean, when people say, "Oh, you're a pathologist," they automatically know that you're a doctor or not.
No,
right?
No, they don't know. I went to medical school, so I did my 5 years, and then I also did another board in cytopathology.
Okay.
So cytopathology kind of gives us that bridge. When you ask, what relationship do I have with the doctor? Cytopathology is like regular pathology on a microscopic level. So I'm looking at individual cells, pap smears, things like that. That's when you have to be a cytopathologist just to look at those. So that's an additional scope. So in addition to that, if you have a lesion on your arm, there's cytopathologists that can needle it for you and then put it on the slide, look at it right there, and then diagnose it. So doctors like that because I'm giving a face-to-face contact with the patient, which is something that I like, doing the procedure, and then telling them right away, immediately, a preliminary that I think it's this or something like that.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that existed. That's really cool.
It does. And the radiologist, too. So if a radiologist does an ultrasound-guided biopsy, say someone that's getting the thyroid and getting a needle, I'm standing there right next to the patient, looking in the microscope, telling them, okay, you've got enough material. It's good. You can stop.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. So do you get a chance to be hands-on with the surgeons as well? You go into the surgeries as well?
Sometimes, is what happens is if they give us something and they want to see it themselves, I'll go in the OR and tell them, your margins are good, or, oh, no, you need to go back in.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So you talked a little bit about what inspired you down that path, that teacher, that person that said you were really good at this. So once she introduced that to you, what made you say, okay, this is what I really want to stick to?
I think it took a while. I think I was resisting it at first because I was like, I still want that patient interaction. So when I came to Houston, it was to do my Cytopath fellowship. And I started to be able to actually see the patient and stuff like that. It kind of encouraged me. I'm like, okay, this is really what I want to do. Because it came easy to me. I was able to look in the microscope and I realized, okay, it's a gift. And I'm taking it and trying to use it for the better. And now I'm realizing, when you're in medicine, you don't have to just stay in the office or stay at the desk. You can choose how you want to work it. So now I'm trying to do, a website to let patients and even let doctors know, there's a resource. Pathology's here, and use us and get to understand, what we do and what questions you have about a biopsy you may got. What does that mean? that, the pathologist can, get behind and out of the microscope and be a resource.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite classes was histo in school and path. So I'm like, that is such a neat
Isn't that
thing
cool?
that, and dentist also too, as you guys know, I'm a dentist. So dentists can actually go into pathology as well. So it's not
Exactly.
necessarily a very common path, but it is a path that people go. So let's talk a little bit about the conversation that happened when you told your father that you wanted to go into path. How was that? What was that like?
I think he was actually happy with it. So my father is a radiologist, retired, and that's basically diagnostic medicine. So we chose kind of like a type of medicine where we like to see. You see what you get, basically.
Okay.
And so he's always in the dark room. He really wanted me to be a radiologist. But I'm like, Daddy, I don't have the eye for that. But I have the eye for the microscope. So
Yeah.
he was more than proud that, I found my way, I found my calling, and I'm keeping with it.
So do you feel like now being a pathologist, do you feel like there's how do I say this? Because sometimes we get it in dentistry too.
Right.
Well, actually we get it from dentistry versus the medicine where people are like, oh, you became a dentist because you didn't want to become a doctor. And you're like, well, wait a minute, I actually like teeth, right? Like, so it's okay for me to have chose this option.
Right.
Do you feel as if in your industry that people feel some kind of way about pathologists versus surgeons or doctors? Less
do.
respect maybe or a little bit?
They do. I don't allow that to happen to me, but some doctors do, some other pathologists do. But what's happened is I was at a conference, and right in the middle of the conference, one of the doctors said, oh, the pathologists, the fake doctors. Yeah.
Wow. How did that make you feel?
Oh, I was offended. Because you have to understand, they're thinking, oh, you don't treat patients, but every time they have a problem with the laboratory value or something, they're calling us up.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's just it's a matter of respect and trying to get back to that.
Yeah, well, I think definitely it's important I don't know why we tend to do that at this level when we're like, you had to go to school for like eternity. You had to get the residency.
Exactly.
The respect is still there, but, we've got to stop doing that in our
Yes.
industry. We really do. So, well, guys, we're going to end our Facebook Live, but I want to encourage you guys. We're going to go into minorities in medicine, problems in pathology, and also talk about some cool cases. So make sure you do the following. Subscribe to our show on all our major platforms. So we're on iTunes, we're on SoundCloud, we're on Google Play, we're on Stitcher. It is very hard for you not to find us. And then we want you to review the show. Please make sure you give us constructive feedback because we're able to take that feedback and make our show even better. Please also share this episode with your friends on Facebook Live and make sure that the entire show, people get a chance to see what pathology is. It's some really cool stuff that we're talking about. And last but not least, donate to our mission. Each week we want to bring enriched and inspiring content every week. And so you can donate at www.thesphere.tv/donate to make sure that your coins are going to use for this studio and for us to make these shows be as great as they are. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into our Facebook Live. You'll catch us out iTunes or SoundCloud, Stitcher, or Google Play. So let's keep going. So now let's talk a little bit about, you talked about the different branches. I'm familiar with a lot of forensic pathology because, of course, as a dental standpoint, when patients are in some sort of car accident where they're not able to be recognized, they come and get their dental records,
Yes.
and that's through forensic path. But tell us a little bit about that pathology as well, because I think that's one that's a little bit more common. People are aware of that one.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do ask when I say pathologist. They're like, oh, yeah, you deal with forensics. And not all pathologists do, but when we do our training, we have to do 50 autopsies, and we have to go through a lot of the basic stuff and do forensics.
Okay.
And a side note, I guess this will tell my age a little bit, was right when the sniper was in D.C.
Yeah.
I did one of my years of pathology there, and I was in Maryland, and I saw quite a few of those.
Oh, wow. Well, first and foremost, black don't crack. So, girl, I don't know what you're talking about with this age, because I would be like, I would be Angela Bassett all in day. As soon as I get to her age, I'm like, yep, I am this age. So, rocking that truth. But that's really cool. So, how was that experience? Because that's a very high-profile case.
It was. And the thing was, there wasn't a lot of pathology except for the fact, trying to follow the trajectory and where the bullet was and stuff like that. But these were like normal-looking, healthy people. And so for me, after that experience, that's when I also knew I didn't want to do forensics because I couldn't remove myself from the situation of doing the autopsy and seeing a lot of them. But a lot of them are hospitals. So The autopsy, there's a hospital autopsy. If someone dies in the hospital and it's a known, or someone dies at home and they already know they have cancer or heart disease, it can go to the hospital, and then the general pathologist can do that autopsy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it is something that's suspicious or happens at home or a young person, then yeah, that goes to the forensics or the medical examiner in that county. And they're the ones who do the autopsy. And it's very there's a set way. You can spend 20 to 30 minutes just looking at the external, making sure there's nothing foul play or what's going on, and then inside. Uh-oh. And a lot of times they'd be surprised that there's some type of heart disease going on.
How do you feel about your cases when you are diagnosing? Because now you get a chance to be behind the microscope and not with the patient as much, right? So do you feel like if you have that negative diagnosis to give, does it still play with your emotions as much as if you had that patient-to-patient contact?
It does, but in different ways. For us as a pathologist, we're still geeks. So if we get some case that's rare, some type of cancer that we've never seen, we're excited. But then I'm okay, this is not exciting.
I'm excited for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons. It looks cool under the microscope. But diagnosis and thinking about it, I'm always this patient, I'm thinking, it's pretty sad. I'll call the doctor sometimes. And when he starts giving me the clinical history and I put it together, then I'm I'm so glad that I'm kind of reserved, but it always hurts.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine you can't be desensitized completely to it. And that's probably one of the reasons why I could never go into medicine, because with my patients, they are walking out. I am okay. Your tooth hurt and you're walking out.
We're walking out, but we're hurting when you leave your office.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So I always joke with my associate. I'm like, why did we go into this again? Because people really don't like us, and we cause them some form of pain, and then they walk out and they tell us how much they don't like us. But, that's a whole other story. So, but let's also talk a little bit now about, problems in Path. Where do you see that across the board there's some issues with your industry as a whole?
Oh, a lot of things. I would say reimbursement and Medicare kind of changes things, as with all doctors. Mm-hmm. So we're given a task to diagnose this cancer, and we may have to do immunostains and work it up, but then at the same time, we may not get reimbursed for all of it, because according to what the standards are, what things are changing, certain things are not going to be accepted. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of it's hard, because we know how we practice, we know what we need to help the patient, but sometimes we feel like we have to I do sometimes, I'm okay, I think less immunostains or less extra work is better, because it's going to cost more, and I may not, it may have to go a big bill to the patient. And
so, I mean, does the patient get billed for the work that you do, regardless of if the insurance covers or not? Because how would you be able to diagnose the patient if they...
Exactly. So you have to, the diagnosis. There's different parts to it. So they get the hospital bill, the doctor bill, then they get the bill from us, from the pathologist.
Wow.
Yeah, when I had a little thing in my mouth and I went to the dentist and the oral surgeon removed it, and I was oh, here's my Path bill. So I read the report, and the Path bill was not pretty.
Wow.
And I'm I could have looked at that and diagnosed that.
You could have just gave it to me in a cup and been fine.
Yeah. Right. So even with the insurance, there still is that coverage. And I always think about that. So when I sign something out, I'm okay, what can I do to make sure I give the right diagnosis but not waste the patient any more money, especially if they're going to have to go through a whole bunch more treatment.
Let me tell you, if I have some issues, I'm praying that you get my case, because if that's how you think, I love it. So, well, guys, this portion of the show is sponsored by The Sphere. Are you starting your business and looking for a place to advertise? Do you need to reach thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your products? So if you want to do something as awesome as that, come on down here and get your placement or advertising needs handled by The Sphere. We offer a wide range of delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States, as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. So give us a call at 832-772-7789, or send us an email over at advertise@thesphere.tv. So, yeah, I'm hoping that you get a chance to take a look at my stuff, if God forbid, but, because that is something that I feel like if a big bill is coming my way, I don't want to receive it. So,
right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about minorities in medicine. So you are not only a beautiful Black person, but you were
Thank you.
also a female. And so how has that been in the industry of pathology?
Hard. I think it was hard. I grew up in Kansas.
Right,
So, you know,
so we
and I
already
grew up
know.
in South Kansas. And we were like one of the first families at our school.
Yeah.
And I used to tell my dad, why did you do this to me? Why did you do this?
Really, really,
Yeah.
how do we say? A Caucasian school.
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, not very diverse at all. I think we were the first family there.
And how was that
So,
growing up in high school?
It was hard. My mom was at the school every week for something.
Really?
She supported and represented me very well.
Go ahead,
Yes.
moms.
Yes,
Was your
she
mom
did.
in healthcare too, or?
No, she wasn't. She was at home. Yeah, I have two brothers. One
Okay.
of my brothers is also a physician
Oh,
in
cool.
Memphis, and then I have a sister. So
Awesome.
yeah, she was at the school for all of us for some reason. If I could, the stories I could tell.
Mom was not playing. She's like, you
No.
will know that my child is protected and supported.
Right.
So,
But I'm a Taurus, so I was always on the defensive, and I was not going to let that push me down.
good.
I mean, people would hide tests. Some of the teachers would hide exams and say I flunked the exam, but
Is this
couldn't
in
find
high
it.
school?
In
This is med
middle
school.
school. In middle school.
Middle school.
And she couldn't find my test. Everyone else's test was found except mine was missing.
Get out of here. So you started dealing with racism kind of
Very
earlier
early.
on. Yeah.
Actually, when I got to medical school, it wasn't as bad. There was a couple of programs. You know, KU had a program.
SMDP, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people that were in that, we were like a close-knit group.
Okay.
I wasn't in the program, but it was kind of nice because we kind of relied on each other, and they had so many resources.
You know Brian Hall?
Yeah, I think it.
That was my neighbor.
Oh,
So such a small world. His dad was a doctor too. Okay, I'm
yeah.
sorry. We can
That's
talk
a
about that
small
off
world.
script. Yeah, off script. But it was my neighbor, so he went to Xavier too. So okay.
My
So,
brother went to Xavier for a short period of time.
Huh?
Yeah, my brother did.
Oh, cool,
Mhm.
cool. Okay, so yeah, you started dealing with it early on, and I'm wondering, did God put those things in your life so that you could be able to go into a field that is so
Exactly.
not diverse? Tell us a little bit
Right.
now, as you're an adult, you're established, and probably
Yeah.
things that you're experiencing now as a minority in medicine.
Still happening. The thing is that's so neat is that it happens on a subtle level.
Okay.
So that you can't really say anything, or if you say something, you're the troublemaker. So I just try to keep it, I try to keep myself positive, uplifted, and just keep it in the back burner. I just take notes.
You're not the angry Black girl? I
Try
didn't
not
know
to be.
that.
Oh, you know, we still are. Even if you're quiet, you're still there.
You're not the angry Black
Yeah.
girl? Just because you have an issue that makes you angry,
Yeah.
right? So, and I think, one of the cool things I wanted to talk about at the very end of this is just some cool cases that you discuss, things that you're coming about, and then how do you stay balanced? So, have you got a chance to see something that was really, really awesome that you're like, it manifested like this, and then all of a sudden we found out it was this?
Well, there's funny parts. Okay, so there's also gross pathology. Like we get stuff in the lab that comes. Like I would say we've gotten bottle cans before
Bottle cans?
that were removed.
And
then
you see
we've
about that
had-
stuff on TV, but I'm like,
Then
does
we've
that
had
really
the meat
happen?
cutter. There was a guy when I was in training at KU that had his arm. So they had to bring the whole meat cutting machine with his arm.
Oh my god! Oh my god! So let me understand. Why does that need to go to pathologist? You know exactly.
So right when it was removed. So a lot of the things, anything that comes from the OR, unless it's a gross only or something that has pathology, it has to go through us. Like we're just going to look at it and say yes and document it and then
move on.
Yeah.
So one of my obsessions, one of my favorite doctors is Dr. Pimple Popper, and so I'm sure sends tons of things. I mean, she has to have a pathologist on site because as soon as she gets the abscess or the
Right.
pimple, she's diagnosing it and finding it out. Are there any favorite path terms or path things that you're like, this is one of my faves? Like I love pus, but I think I love neutrophils, right? So that's my thing, right? I remember seeing that on the
neutrophils.
microscope and being like, this is cool. Like,
Oh.
but that's how basic my pathology is. Is there something that is your favorite?
I don't like dermoid cysts
Okay.
because I don't like to see the hair and
I
teeth.
think that's so dope.
It is dope on the microscope, but I don't like seeing the hair and the teeth. I like literally have to refuse to,
So no
to diagnose
teratomas
them.
or anything?
Don't like to look. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like, that is so cool. It's so weird how it's a pluripotent cell, is that right? That
Right.
gets put somewhere
So many
else and it
different-
changes.
Well, it's all the different layers.
Yeah.
The ecto, the endo, the meso. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
No.
You know what? Maybe I missed my calling too in past.
It
I
seems
definitely
like
think
you did.
I think I missed my calling though with pimples, because if somebody would have told me that I didn't even know derm was a real, I was like, that's a job. I found this out after I'd already been discussed. I should have did that. But anyways, guys, this portion of the show is sponsored by KOG and Company. Are your unique gifts and talents changing the world? Unleash Your Dopeness is the people empowerment movement built to encourage the masses and to operate outside your fears to have the goal to recklessly pursue their dreams and their passion in life. So join thousands of others as we unlock our greatness that dwells inside. Shop dope gear at kogpassions.com. That's kogpassion.com, and use the coupon code DOPE for 10% off exclusive Unleash Your Dopeness apparel. Act now, the sizes are selling out fast. If you guys haven't followed KG, she is truly dope, so get a chance to get inspired. So, you know, one of the things I always wonder about doctors in healthcare is, how do you stay balanced? What are some of the things that you do to make sure that your life is full and basically where you're not running yourself crazy?
Yeah, and I have a 7-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Oh,
and
wow.
The teenager drives me more crazy than anything.
I'm sure. Are they girls and boys or?
The girl is 7, my
Okay.
daughter, and my son is 15.
Okay, so he's
Yeah.
giving you more grief right now?
Teenager.
That's crazy.
It's a totally different. I didn't know. And they're like not like we were when teenagers. They're a totally different brand. This is 2.0.
Yes.
Teenager.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like the phones are like everything,
Phones
right?
and
Like
everything.
you can't, yeah.
Yeah, they're calling FaceTiming during school, and I'm monitoring all that.
Yeah, you got to have like an app on there
Yeah.
to do all that, right? So,
But he knows I find my own things to do. My son, he likes to, be the little macho, but he likes to spend time with me.
okay.
But I'm really into music and dance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit
I do
about
West
that.
African dance. I've been doing that since medical school I started training.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So where do you do that here in Houston?
Here in Houston, I have a small group, and we get together, we rehearse. We've done a couple of performances. We've done a wedding, yeah. But, I mean, it's like the best feeling when you find something you like and just honing into it, yeah. So it's West African and Caribbean dance, traditional, to drums, doing like certain dances that mean certain things for customs.
I love that. I love
pretty cool.
that. And so when you started getting into that, do you feel like you're less stressed? You're getting more
Oh,
balance?
yes. Definitely less stress.
Awesome.
definitely.
And so you don't eat meats. Are you vegetarian or a vegan?
So I used to say vegan, but I stopped that term because I don't do dairy.
Okay.
I don't do meat, but I do fish like once every 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay.
I try to do clean like salmon or something like that.
So like a pescatarian-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, got you.
Something
Got
like
you.
that. I stopped meat when I was 14. It was a dare. Me and my friend dared each other to go without meat because we grew up around barbecue. I used to eat chitlins.
Oh.
I did eat chitlins, but that's out of my system now. But when we did the dare, I decided, okay, after 2 days, she called me and said she gave it up, and I just kept going.
Wow. And have you not missed a beat with it? Have you?
I don't miss
Do
it.
you remember the last time you ate meat? Like, do you remember, like, one time you're like, I'm just going to have a piece of chicken?
Okay, so I did chicken a little bit in my 20s, but I think I was in medical school, and I had a bad piece, and I'm like, I'm done. I had a bad piece, and I'm like, okay, it just signified I'm done.
You know, I watched, what was it, What the Health, and
I heard that
it's-
changes a lot of people's minds.
Man, when I tell you the way I feel about cheese, it's like so wrong. Like it
Yeah.
makes my heart hurt. Like I literally, so I'm a meat eater, but I have really bad endo, and so like I was supposed to be on more of an anti-inflammatory diet, right? And that's been like a really big struggle. I just finally got my life together where I can do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know the things that you have to give up, they really want you to go towards more of a pescatarian or vegetarian
Exactly.
diet. And I am from Kansas, so I receive it.
You
Like
know.
all the steaks and all of the
Exactly.
ribs. That's my mother just came back from Kansas, and I was like, hey, so I need you to wrap up me 2 boxes of Gates. Don't play with my life. So
You don't like Hayward's?
I don't think I've ever had it.
It's not Hayward's, the one that's in Martin City. What's that called?
I don't know.
I thought that was the rival
And
to
there's
Gates.
Jack Stacks, that my brother is obsessed with, and I think my sister too, and they
But
like
Jack Stack,
Arthur
yeah.
Bryant and something like that. So I'm a Gates person. Like I literally
Their
live
sauce
for
is
Gates.
pretty good.
Oh
I
my
put
God,
them.
it's so good. It's so good, and that's what it is. So sauce, but I feel like people here in Texas, I don't know.
The barbecue's
y'all
not
don't know
the same.
how to do it.
My cousin came to visit, and she's from Kansas City, and she was like, is it as good as home?
It's
and I'm
not.
like,
I
it's
have
not.
yet to find. Killings has been the closest.
Because I heard their meat is tender.
It's tender,
Yeah.
but that's the closest. That's it. So if I can bring their meat with
Take
some
Gates
Gates sauce.
Or my family sauce.
Hey, I need to get
I
a
know,
bottle.
you
Like,
do.
seriously. Well, guys, thank you so much for checking us out today. This has been an awesome episode. And so I want to have the people find out where they can find you. You got some new things coming down the
Yes,
pipeline. Now,
I
you don't want to
do.
give out a lot of
So good.
information. But if people want to find you, how can they find you?
So for right now, Keisha Davis at AOL.com if you have any questions. I also do a dance health fitness, and it's a Facebook page. It's linked to my page.
Okay.
Yeah, Keisha Davis, where I also do group fitness
Find
training.
Miss Davis on here.
Yeah, I do group. It's Dance Health Fitness KDMD. So I do group fitness training. I like to do body weight training, doing a whole body thing, because I feel that when you're strong and as a doctor, we have to make sure that we represent
Is
ourselves.
this
so
Miss
that-
Davis? Oh,
It
I need
is.
y'all to get to this
It
page. Body, girl's body is banging and dancing is amazing. Girl, I'm inspired. I'm inspired. So guys, check her out, Keisha Davis. I mean, she's a rock star, literally. This is awesome. I'm so impressed. I'm gonna have to keep your phone number too, because I need to get these abs. I need just one ab. I don't need like 6. I just want one, and I'll be good to go. Well, guys, I'm Dr. Simone Ellis. Of course, you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Simone Ellis or at Smile Design Studios for your dental needs. Make sure you check us out on the next show. Can't wait to have my co-host back, but you were fantastic.
And I didn't get to meet her.
Cute, I know. Yeah, you didn't,
Yeah.
but she's dope. She's dope. I hope she tuned in today. But all right, guys, it was a pleasure meeting you guys, and have a wonderful afternoon. Take care.
Thank you.